So we're going to talk about following the two commandments. Jesus had another quiz. What commandment is first over all? That was the question. Jesus answered the question by giving them, the people who asked the question, what they already knew. But they weren't expecting it. Do you know the 10 Commandments? Can anyone recite the 10 Commandments? Open it up in the Bible, right? Well, how could you? They've been removed from the courthouse. They're not taught in the schools. How will we ever learn to follow the rules if the monument of them isn't at the courthouse? We have to put them in the schools. If we don't have the 10 rules as a guide for everything we do in court, then society will fall into turmoil and no one will ever do the right thing. Or so I've heard. You know, I can imagine a similar scenario to something like that involving the protection of the best of the commandments by making the local hero look bad by giving the wrong answer to an absurd question. What's the most important commandment? Jesus responded with the perfect answer. Now I know we get the benefit of looking at it from now, back then, but Jesus didn't have that looking back then, although he did look back then. He responded with the perfect answer yet again. He responded in Mark 12, 28 to 34. That's today's Bible reading, to the scribe's question of which commandment is first over all by going outside of the expected 10. He gave them the scriptures. First is the great Shema from Deuteronomy 6, 4 to 9. The what? Shema? That's the affirmation of faith that begins with the Hear, O Israel phrases that parents are supposed to repeat and teach to their children and put on their doorposts and paint it on their foreheads. This one is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Then Jesus gave them other words that are familiar from Leviticus 19:18. Love your neighbor as yourself. And no one could respond. Jesus gave it to them in plain talk. These were the two, and everything else hinged and hinges on them. Of course, love your neighbor as yourself brings up the other question, who is my neighbor? And Jesus addressed that another time, with the answer being just as simple. Everyone is your neighbor. So the two commandments, the most important ones, the ones that inform everything else, love God, love others. You've heard them before. I've said them before. So, let's put on our two commandments glasses. I don't have any glasses here. They're going to be figurative glasses. And we're going to look at some things that we're about here at Peace Memorial Church and see how they work with the two commandments. The first one is a preview. It's the vision. We haven't even had a congregational vote on this one, but from our visioning discussions earlier in the year, and then putting all of those things together into a cauldron of vision, into like trying to pull out key phrases and key ideas from that, here's what's emerged. You've heard me say this sentence a few times in recent sermons, and we'll talk about it formally at the December 8th congregational meeting. But here it is. Peace Memorial Church is, that part is understood, a vibrant, inclusive Christian community living out love, respect, and dignity for everyone. How does it fit with the two rules? Love God, love one another. You get to think about that. Our mission we voted on several years ago. We believe that we are called to serve. We believe that we are called to love our neighbor and that we are called to offer help and hope to the least of these. We accept the call to be the light that shines in dark places and the salt of the earth. We seek to continue Christ's ministry of healing, feeding, and teaching. We seek to offer an extravagant welcome to all, and we do this in many ways. Sometimes it's expressed in offerings and financial generosity to the United Church of Christ's offerings that bring hope and help globally and certainly here at home. Sometimes it's expressed in mission trips where we go and serve. The mission of Peace Memorial Church with our Two Commandments classes. It's right in there. Our open and affirming statement. This was a longer one, and I guess you call it a little unorthodox from the ONA statements that I've read. In the spirit of Christ's teachings, and to affirm our commitment and covenant to live the teachings of the gospel today and every day, Peace Memorial Church, UCC, welcomes you. We welcome you regardless of your race, ethnicity, or country of origin. We welcome you if you are single, married, or divorced, gay, straight, transgender, rich, or poor. We welcome you if you're young or old or anywhere in between. We extend special welcome to crying newborn babies and 100-plus-year-old great-grandparents. We welcome you if you have a disability of any kind, physical or mental, the healthy, the afflicted, those in recovery, those still addicted. We welcome you if you can sing like Caruso or Aretha Franklin, and even if you can't carry a tune in a bushel basket. We extend a special welcome if you're just visiting or shopping, if you're not into organized religion, or even if you're Catholic, Lutheran, or the last time you went to church was your niece's baptism in 1974. Please feel welcome if you're a vegetarian, carnivore, Republican, or Democrat. We at Peace Memorial Church recognize the differences among us, the diversity that is in God's creation. We believe that we can share God's love for us with one another, recognizing our similarities and our diversity. We invite all people to join us in the journey of faith, living by God's will and God's kingdom here on earth, creating a world filled with love, understanding the mutual respect and hospitality for all. We want you to know that here at Peace Memorial Church, all God's creatures have a place at the table. Love God. Love everyone. Is it good to revisit and evaluate our statements? A vision statement that we haven't even voted on that we will visit, a mission statement that we voted on several years ago, an ONA statement that comes from 2019 or 2018. Is it good to continually evaluate them? Of course. Are the statements ever meant to limit what the church can do? No. Can we continue to be the church through it all? Whether we are reevaluating, figuring stuff out, liking, not liking, upset about whatever it is, of course we can continue to be the church through all of it. Being the church is also about protecting the environment, caring for the poor, forgiving often, rejecting racism, fighting for the powerless, sharing earthly and spiritual resources, embracing diversity, loving God, and enjoying this life. Does it pass the Two Commandments test? Everything that we do. I recognize that some things that we do at Peace Memorial Church are more business-oriented. We need to make sure that we do, make sure that the roof isn't leaking, or that the lights, we're still working on the lights, but that the lights are on in the sanctuary, that the sound works, that we have professional sound people back there who know everything. Thanks, guys. That the pews aren't falling apart, that the barista station, the coffee machine, is working, that the floors are in good repair, that we can see the parking lot lines. I know, see some things that we're working on and some things that we've already done. But let's always measure it by the two rules glasses, with the two rules glasses. When we put in the new sidewalks, that was just a physical thing, right? And a lot of money. We put in the sidewalks, but we didn't want anyone to fall over on the sidewalks and get hurt. And so we're following that idea that we love people enough that we don't want them to get hurt because we did something wrong. Love God, love others. This is a week that if you haven't voted, you're going to vote. Does anyone have their precinct right here at Peace Memorial Church? Nobody that's here today? I don't know if you voted or not yet, and I'm not going to tell you how to vote. I get to have my vote, you get to have your vote, and we all get to vote how we want, from the top races like president and vice president to the races for congressperson in Cook County. This is my first time voting in Cook County, and there are 90,462 judges to either retain or not retain. When I lived in McHenry County or DuPage County, there were like 4. That's a whole different thing. When we vote, let's put on, it's not that church should control the government. I don't think that church should. I don't think that Christian nationalism is a thing that would work or should work. We have a diverse way of looking at the government, and people from Christianity have different views about things too, and not everyone is Christian, and not everyone is even religious, and so we get to vote. But as Christians here, when we vote, we get to put on our 2 commandments glasses. And then our vote, whoever we vote for, however we vote, is like a prayer. A prayer wishing for the way that we hope it could be. So let's put on those 2 commandments glasses when we vote, and vote with love. Let's put on the 2 commandments glasses when we're dealing with issues or whatever it is around the church, or how the church is in ministry throughout the community and throughout the world. Let's put on our 2 commandments glasses in life. At the grocery store, when someone cuts in front of you. I was at Costco yesterday, and I went to the Orland Costco, and there were 900,372 people there, and you just couldn't turn around a corner without running into somebody, and I had the opportunity to say things that you wouldn't expect a pastor to say, but I didn't. Maybe it's just because my parents taught me that way too, but I'm constantly reminded, probably because I say it so often, that these 2 commandments, love God and love one another, are so very important to the entire human condition. So let's live out those commandments. Let's continually work so that our statements, our actions, our very existence follows the 2 commandments wherever we are. Amen.